Have you ever had a moment where you walk into a room and forget why you went in there? Or perhaps you are reading a book and suddenly can't remember the last few pages. It's something that happens to all of us from time to time, right? Forgetfulness is a natural part of life, especially as we age. But what if these small lapses in memory and thinking weren't just a normal part of growing older? What if they were early signs of something more serious, like dementia? Now, I know that term, dementia, can sound scary, and it's easy to push it to the back of your mind, especially if you're not dealing with it right now. But it's important to be aware of the early signs, because the sooner we catch these signs, the more we can do to help manage them. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the early signs of dementia that you should never ignore. We'll talk about how you can identify them, and most importantly, what steps you can take if you're noticing any of these changes in yourself or someone you love. Let's start by thinking about something we all experience: forgetting things. Everyone has those moments when they misplace their keys or forget where they put their glasses. It's totally normal. But when forgetfulness starts to interfere with your daily life, it might be time to pay attention. It's not just about missing a birthday here or there, but forgetting things that are significant to your day-to-day activities. For example, you might forget the name of a close family member, or even forget how to do something that you've done for years, like making your morning coffee or driving to the grocery store. When these things start to happen more often, it's important to ask yourself, is this just a part of aging, or could this be an early sign of something like dementia? Now, forgetfulness on its own isn't necessarily a red flag. After all, we all have those days when our minds aren't as sharp as they used to be. But when it becomes persistent and starts affecting your ability to function, it's time to take a step back. This could be one of the earliest signs of dementia. Dementia isn't just about forgetting things, it's about forgetting how to do things, and the sense of disorientation that comes with it. You might start noticing that even though you're trying hard to remember, it feels like you're drawing a blank. Another sign to look out for is difficulty with concentration. You might find it hard to focus on a single task for a long period of time. Let's say you're watching a TV show or reading a book, and suddenly you realize that you've been reading the same page over and over again without actually absorbing anything. It might take longer for you to process information, and sometimes you might even feel like you're losing track of a conversation, even if you're trying hard to keep up. It's almost as if the information just doesn't seem to stick the way it used to. Now, I want to be clear, these changes don't mean that you have dementia. It's natural for all of us to experience some memory lapses or difficulty concentrating, especially if we're feeling stressed, tired, or overwhelmed. But if these changes are happening regularly and are starting to affect your life, they could be early warning signs that you should pay attention to. Speaking of concentration, another thing to look out for is confusion. Have you ever felt a little disoriented, unsure of where you are, or how you got there? Maybe you've experienced a moment where you couldn't remember what you were doing, even though it was just a few minutes ago. We've all had those moments where things feel a little out of place, but when confusion becomes a frequent companion, it's worth considering what might be going on. You may find yourself getting lost in familiar places, or you might struggle to follow along with everyday routines, like preparing a meal or getting dressed in the morning. For some, confusion also affects their sense of time. You might notice that days or months seem to blend together, and you lose track of when things happened. Maybe you're having trouble remembering when you saw your doctor last or when your last family gathering was. This kind of disorientation can be frustrating, but it's also something to pay attention to, especially if it starts happening on a regular basis. Let's think about something else that many of us experience as we get older: mood swings. Everyone gets a little down or irritable sometimes. Maybe you're frustrated because you can't remember something, or maybe you're feeling a little more anxious than usual. But if you notice significant changes in your mood, it might be more than just the ups and downs of life. People with early-stage dementia often experience mood swings that feel a lot more intense than usual. They might feel depressed, anxious, or overly irritable. These emotional changes can be subtle at first, but they can gradually become more noticeable. Have you ever felt like you've become more easily upset or frustrated by things that didn't used to bother you? Maybe it's a change in the weather, or something small that happened during the day, but it feels like you're on edge more often than you used to be. These emotional shifts, paired with memory issues and confusion, are important to take seriously because they could be early signs of cognitive decline. And remember, it's always better to be proactive when it comes to your health. The earlier you recognize potential signs, the sooner you can take action. Now that we've covered forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, confusion, and mood swings, we're starting to see a pattern emerge. Dementia can show up in different ways, and it's not always the same for everyone. These early signs can be subtle, and sometimes it's easy to brush them off as just a normal part of aging. But the truth is, these signs can be a lot more than that, and recognizing them early can make all the difference. But, of course, there's no need to panic if you're noticing any of these changes. The key is to stay aware and take action when necessary. The next step is to figure out what you can do about it. Whether it's talking to your doctor, making changes in your daily routine, or finding strategies to cope with memory loss, there's always something you can do to improve your cognitive health. Before we move on to the next signs, take a moment to reflect. Have you noticed any of these changes in yourself or someone you love? Don't worry, there's no need to feel ashamed or anxious. Being aware is the first step toward living your best life at any age. It's about understanding that while we all go through changes, we can also take control of our health and make adjustments that help us live confidently and independently. So, as we move forward, let's dive deeper into what happens next when we start noticing these signs. How do we keep track of what's happening? What steps can we take to help manage and even slow down the process? Stick with me as we continue this journey together. Now that we've talked about some of the first signs to watch for, forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, confusion, and mood changes, let's dive into a few more subtle but important changes that could signal the onset of dementia. These are the signs that many people overlook because they may seem insignificant at first. But as we go through them, you'll see how they can start to build up and why it's crucial to stay alert. One of these signs is difficulty with language. Have you ever been in a conversation and found yourself struggling to find the right word? Maybe you know exactly what you want to say, but the word just won't come to you. You might even find yourself using vague words like thing or stuff instead of the specific term you want. Or, perhaps, you've been talking to someone and noticed that you're starting to forget common phrases or lose track of what you were saying altogether. These are things that can happen from time to time, especially when we're feeling distracted or tired. But when it starts to happen more often, it can be a sign of something deeper. Difficulty with language is a key symptom of dementia, particularly in the early stages. It's not just about forgetting the occasional word, it's about having trouble finding the right words regularly, forgetting familiar names, or even struggling to follow a conversation. It might become frustrating, both for the person experiencing it and for those around them. Conversations can feel awkward or disjointed, and that sense of disconnection can be unsettling. If you find yourself getting lost in the middle of sentences or forgetting words you use all the time, it's important to pay attention. These language problems, especially when combined with other signs we've already discussed, may be an early indicator of cognitive decline. Another sign to keep an eye on is changes in visual and spatial perception. You might start noticing that you're having trouble judging distances or recognizing objects in your environment. For example, maybe you're walking down the street and you start tripping over things you didn't trip on before, or you might misjudge the distance between two objects when trying to park your car. Sometimes, people with dementia also have difficulty with tasks like reading, judging depth, or even identifying familiar faces. You might think, I've always been clumsy, and that's perfectly possible. But if these changes become more frequent or severe, they could be more than just a minor mishap. Dementia can affect your brain's ability to process visual information, leading to confusion about what you're seeing. If you notice changes in your ability to navigate the world around you, it's worth bringing it up with a healthcare professional. Now, let's talk about something that many people experience as they age: withdrawal from social activities. We all go through phases where we feel like staying in more often, whether it's due to a busy schedule, feeling tired, or just wanting to enjoy some quiet time. But if you find yourself consistently pulling away from friends, family, or hobbies that once brought you joy, it could be a sign of dementia. People in the early stages of dementia often feel overwhelmed by their memory issues or confusion, and as a result, they might start avoiding social situations. They might be afraid of getting lost in conversation, making a mistake, or not remembering what they're supposed to be doing. This can lead to feelings of isolation and sadness, which only add to the emotional challenges of dementia. But here's the thing, socializing and staying connected is one of the best ways to keep your mind sharp. Engaging with others helps stimulate cognitive function and boosts your overall mood. So if you or someone you know has been withdrawing from social activities more often than usual, it's important to recognize this as a potential early sign of dementia, rather than just a preference for solitude. It's also worth noting that dementia can affect a person's ability to make decisions. Maybe you've always been a careful planner, making sure everything is in order before you make a big decision. But now, you're noticing that your decision-making skills aren't as sharp as they used to be. Perhaps you're not as careful with your finances, or you're having trouble making decisions about your daily routines, like what to eat or when to go to bed. In some cases, this might even extend to things like personal hygiene or appearance. A person in the early stages of dementia might start neglecting their grooming, not because they don't care, but because they're having trouble making the decision to take care of themselves in the way they once did. For example, they might stop showering regularly or forget to brush their teeth, even though these habits were once second nature. This kind of decision-making difficulty can be subtle at first, but over time, it can become more noticeable. If you or someone you love is struggling with making simple decisions, it's time to start thinking about how to address the issue before it escalates. One of the more noticeable signs of dementia is changes in behavior. A person might start acting in ways that seem out of character. For example, they might become suspicious of others, even family members, or show unusual levels of anxiety and paranoia. These sudden changes can be confusing, both for the person experiencing them and for their loved ones. Have you ever known someone who was always calm and level-headed, but suddenly became easily agitated or distrustful? Perhaps someone you know has started acting impulsively or showing signs of aggression or agitation that weren't part of their usual demeanor. These behaviors could be a sign that something is going on in the brain, and it's not something to ignore. It's important to remember that dementia affects each person differently, and not everyone will experience all of these signs in the same way. But if you start noticing a combination of these changes, memory issues, difficulty with language, confusion, withdrawal from social situations, trouble with decision-making, and changes in behavior, it's time to take them seriously. So, what do you do if you or someone you know is showing these signs? The first step is to seek help. If you're concerned about your memory, your ability to concentrate, or any of the other changes we've talked about, it's a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional. They can perform a thorough assessment and help rule out other conditions, such as vitamin deficiencies, infections, or depression, that might cause similar symptoms. And don't be afraid to reach out for support. This journey can be overwhelming, but there are resources and people who can help guide you. Whether it's talking to a doctor, joining a support group, or just being open with family and friends, there's no need to go through this alone. Remember, it's not about panicking, it's about being aware and taking action when necessary. The earlier we recognize the signs, the better equipped we are to manage them. Dementia doesn't have to define you or someone you love. With the right steps, support, and care, it's possible to live a fulfilling life while managing these challenges. Next, let's talk about some steps you can take right now to help improve brain health and potentially reduce the risks of dementia. Keep watching, there's so much more to learn. Now that we've gone over some of the key early signs of dementia, like memory issues, trouble concentrating, confusion, language difficulties, and behavior changes, it's time to talk about the next crucial step: what to do if you or someone you care about is showing some of these signs. It's easy to feel uncertain or anxious when you first notice these changes, but I want to reassure you that recognizing the symptoms early can make a world of difference in how we approach the situation. First things first, don't panic. I know that's easier said than done, but remember, noticing these signs doesn't automatically mean that you have dementia or that someone you love does. Many of these signs can also be related to other health conditions, stress, or even natural aging. So, the best thing to do is to start by seeking professional help. It's always better to have a clear understanding of what's going on. A doctor can do a thorough evaluation, and they might recommend some tests to rule out other possible causes. You might be wondering, what kind of tests? Well, a healthcare professional may ask for a variety of assessments. They could do cognitive tests to measure memory, attention, and problem-solving abilities. Sometimes blood tests are also done to check for vitamin deficiencies, thyroid issues, or infections that might cause memory or mood problems. Depending on the doctor's findings, they may suggest further brain imaging, like an MRI or CT scan, to see if there are any structural changes in the brain that could explain cognitive issues. While it might feel intimidating to visit the doctor or talk about memory changes, it's a really important step to take. Not only can early diagnosis provide clarity, but it also opens up the door to potential treatments, therapies, and lifestyle changes that can help. So, if you're noticing some of these signs, don't hesitate to bring it up during your next doctor's visit. Now, let's move on to the topic of lifestyle changes. No matter where you are in life, it's never too late to make positive changes that support your brain health. In fact, making healthy lifestyle choices can have a profound impact on how your brain functions as you age. These changes can help slow down cognitive decline and improve your overall well-being. And even if you're not experiencing any early signs of dementia right now, it's a good idea to incorporate these habits into your routine to give yourself the best chance at maintaining a sharp mind. One of the most powerful things you can do is stay physically active. It might sound simple, but exercise is one of the best things you can do for your brain. Studies show that regular physical activity helps improve blood flow to the brain, which in turn supports brain function and reduces the risk of cognitive decline. You don't have to run a marathon or lift heavy weights. Something as simple as going for a daily walk can be incredibly beneficial. Walking is especially good for brain health because it gets your heart pumping and promotes circulation, which helps nourish your brain cells. Plus, walking outdoors exposes you to natural sunlight, which can lift your mood and support healthy sleep patterns. Aim for about 30 minutes of walking each day, or if that feels like too much, start with shorter walks and gradually increase your time. Even light exercise is better than none, so find something that feels enjoyable and doable for you. Another important aspect of brain health is nutrition. What you eat has a direct impact on your cognitive function. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats can help protect your brain as you age. One of the best-known diets for supporting brain health is the Mediterranean diet, which emphasizes foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, fish, and olive oil. These foods are packed with antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids, both of which have been shown to support brain function and reduce inflammation in the brain. In particular, omega-3 fatty acids, which are found in foods like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, have been shown to play a role in protecting against cognitive decline. Antioxidants, found in colorful fruits and vegetables like berries, spinach, and tomatoes, help protect the brain from oxidative stress, which can contribute to brain aging. So, next time you're planning a meal, think about how you can incorporate more of these brain-boosting foods into your diet. Even small changes, like adding a handful of spinach to your smoothie or having some berries with breakfast, can make a difference. In addition to eating the right foods, it's just as important to stay hydrated. Dehydration can affect your memory, mood, and overall cognitive function. So, make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Try to aim for about 8 glasses of water a day, but you might need more if you're active or live in a hot climate. If plain water doesn't sound appealing, herbal teas or adding a splash of lemon to your water can help make hydration more enjoyable. Sleep is another critical factor in maintaining cognitive health. We all know how we feel when we don't get enough sleep: irritable, forgetful, and unfocused. Chronic sleep deprivation can actually increase the risk of developing dementia. When we sleep, our brains undergo a cleaning process where they clear out waste products and toxins that accumulate throughout the day. This process helps keep our brains functioning optimally. So, make sure you're getting enough restful sleep each night. For most adults, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is ideal. To improve your sleep quality, try to establish a regular bedtime routine, avoid caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime, and create a calming environment for sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping, it might be helpful to talk to your doctor about possible solutions. Sometimes sleep disturbances can be a sign of other underlying issues, like sleep apnea or anxiety, that can also affect cognitive function. Now, let's talk about mental stimulation. Just like your body, your brain needs exercise to stay sharp. Keeping your mind active and engaged is one of the best ways to protect against cognitive decline. Try to incorporate activities into your daily life that challenge your brain, like reading, doing puzzles, or learning a new skill. It doesn't matter what the activity is, what matters is that it keeps you mentally engaged and helps strengthen your brain's connections. You might also want to consider trying activities that involve social interaction. Remember when we talked earlier about withdrawal from social activities? Staying socially connected is another key factor in maintaining good brain health. Whether it's spending time with family and friends, joining a club, or participating in community events, socializing helps keep your mind sharp and provides emotional support. Plus, it's a great way to lift your mood and reduce feelings of isolation. Lastly, managing stress is incredibly important for brain health. Chronic stress can harm the brain by affecting areas involved in memory and decision-making. So, it's important to find ways to relax and unwind. Whether it's through meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercises, or simply taking time for yourself, make sure you're giving your mind the rest it needs. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're feeling overwhelmed. A counselor or therapist can help you manage stress and improve your mental well-being. As you can see, there's a lot you can do to support your brain health, both in the short term and long term. These lifestyle changes won't just help reduce the risk of dementia, they'll also improve your overall quality of life. And remember, it's never too late to start. Even if you've been struggling with some of the early signs of dementia, making these changes now can help slow down the progression and give you the best possible chance of maintaining a sharp mind. In our next part, we'll explore how to take these steps further and discuss strategies for managing dementia once it's been diagnosed. Stay tuned, and remember, it's all about staying proactive, informed, and positive. You're in control of your health, and with the right knowledge and support, you can live a fulfilling life at any age. As we continue our conversation about dementia, it's important to recognize that early detection and lifestyle changes play a vital role in managing cognitive decline. But what happens when dementia has been diagnosed? How can you or someone you care about live well despite these challenges? In this part, we're going to talk about strategies for managing dementia and living a fulfilling life, even with the condition. Let's start by talking about the importance of building a support system. If you or someone close to you is facing a dementia diagnosis, it's crucial to have a strong network of support. Dementia can be an emotional and overwhelming journey, and having people who understand and can offer help makes a world of difference. This support system can include family, friends, caregivers, and healthcare professionals. Family members and friends are your first line of support. They can assist with daily tasks, provide emotional comfort, and help with managing appointments. But it's also important to recognize that they may need support too. Caring for someone with dementia can be demanding and, at times, isolating. If you're a caregiver, it's essential to take care of yourself too. This means finding time to rest, asking for help when needed, and taking breaks to recharge. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. In addition to family and friends, support groups can be incredibly helpful. Many communities offer support groups for individuals with dementia and their caregivers. These groups provide a space to share experiences, advice, and emotional support. You'll find that talking with others who are going through the same thing can be both comforting and empowering. It helps to know you're not alone, and you can learn valuable coping strategies from people who truly understand. Another key aspect of managing dementia is staying organized. People living with dementia can often struggle with memory and concentration, so having an organized routine and environment is crucial. It can help reduce confusion and anxiety, making daily life smoother for everyone involved. One of the simplest ways to stay organized is by creating a daily schedule. This can include reminders for things like meals, medications, appointments, and activities. Visual reminders can also be very helpful. A large calendar with appointments and important dates written clearly can keep track of upcoming events. For people who struggle with memory, sticky notes around the house can act as helpful cues for everyday tasks. You can also create checklists for simple tasks like brushing teeth or making the bed. These little reminders can be a lifeline when memory lapses occur. Technology can also be a great ally in managing dementia. There are many apps and devices available that are designed to help people with dementia stay organized and connected. For instance, there are medication management apps that remind people when to take their medication, or GPS devices that can help track where someone is if they tend to wander. There are even digital calendars that sync across devices, so family members and caregivers can help manage schedules in real time. Technology isn't a replacement for human support, but it can certainly make everyday tasks more manageable and provide peace of mind. Now, let's talk about managing behaviors and emotions. It's not uncommon for people with dementia to experience mood swings, anxiety, or even aggression. These changes can be triggered by various factors, including confusion, frustration, or a change in routine. As a caregiver or loved one, it's important to remain patient and understanding when these behaviors arise. One helpful strategy is to avoid confrontation. If the person you're caring for is becoming upset or agitated, try to remain calm and speak in a gentle, reassuring tone. Instead of arguing or trying to reason with them, validate their feelings. For example, if someone is upset because they can't remember where they put their keys, instead of saying, "You just had them, they're right there," try saying, "I understand that it's frustrating to forget where things are. Let's take a moment to look together and see if we can find them." This approach helps reduce anxiety and frustration, as it acknowledges their feelings without escalating the situation. Another technique for managing emotions is to stick to routines. People with dementia often feel more secure when their day follows a predictable structure. Routines create a sense of familiarity and control, which can reduce confusion and distress. For instance, try to keep meal times, bedtimes, and activities at the same time each day. Simple, calming activities like listening to music, going for a walk, or looking through photo albums can also help soothe anxiety and provide comfort. It's also important to encourage physical activity and mental stimulation. Even though dementia can make it more difficult to engage in certain activities, it's still important to stay active both physically and mentally. Exercise, as we've already discussed, is essential for brain health. It doesn't have to be intense. Gentle stretching, walking, or even dancing can be beneficial. If you're caring for someone with dementia, try to find activities that they enjoy and can participate in comfortably. It could be as simple as going outside for some fresh air or doing light gardening together. Mental stimulation is just as important. Encouraging activities that engage the brain can help maintain cognitive function for longer. Things like puzzles, reading, or playing simple games like cards or bingo can be enjoyable and stimulating. Even watching a favorite TV show or listening to a favorite radio program can provide some mental engagement. The key is to find activities that the person can enjoy and that give them a sense of accomplishment. Music therapy is another powerful tool. Many people with dementia respond positively to music, even when other forms of communication may be difficult. Singing along to a favorite song, listening to soothing music, or even playing an instrument can help lift their spirits and improve their emotional well-being. Music taps into deep parts of the brain that are often unaffected by dementia, and it can spark memories and emotions that provide comfort. As you manage the day-to-day challenges of dementia, don't forget to celebrate small victories. If the person you're caring for manages to recall a memory, complete a task, or enjoy an activity, take a moment to acknowledge it. Dementia may take away certain abilities, but it doesn't take away the person's value, personality, or capacity for joy. And for caregivers, it's important to take time to celebrate your own small victories, too. Whether it's a moment of peace, a kind word from your loved one, or just knowing that you've done your best, these little successes are worth acknowledging. Let's also talk about one more important thing: planning for the future. It's never easy to think about, but having open conversations about care plans, financial matters, and legal decisions is crucial, especially if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with dementia. Making these decisions early can help avoid confusion and stress down the line. Consider talking to a lawyer about creating a will, power of attorney, and advanced healthcare directives. This ensures that your wishes will be respected, even if you're no longer able to express them yourself. Financial planning is also essential to ensure that there are funds available for medical care and other needs. While it can be difficult, having these conversations early on gives everyone involved a sense of security and clarity. Managing dementia is not an easy journey, but it's one that can be made easier with the right tools, knowledge, and support. Remember, small adjustments can make a big difference. Whether it's staying organized, using technology, or finding ways to stay active and engaged, there are many steps you can take to improve quality of life. And never forget, you're not alone. Help is available, and with the right support, it's possible to live well, even in the face of dementia. In our next part, we'll explore how to take the best care of yourself as a caregiver, as it's so important to focus on your own health and well-being too. Take a moment for yourself today, and keep moving forward. We'll continue this journey together. As we wrap up this series on the early signs of dementia and how to manage it, I want to take a moment to address a topic that's crucial not just for the person with dementia, but for those who are caring for them. Taking care of yourself as a caregiver. It's a role that can often feel overwhelming, and I know how easy it is to put yourself last when you're focused on the needs of a loved one. But let me remind you, you can't be the best caregiver you can be unless you're taking care of your own health and well-being. Being a caregiver can be rewarding, but it can also be exhausting, both physically and emotionally. There will be days when you feel like you're running on empty, and it might seem like there's no time for anything but taking care of your loved one. But here's the truth, you need to prioritize your own self-care, not just for your own sake, but for the person you're caring for as well. If you're worn out, it's harder to be patient, to stay positive, and to provide the care and attention that your loved one needs. So let's talk about some ways you can take care of yourself so you can continue being the strong, supportive caregiver you are. One of the first things you can do is make sure you're getting the right amount of rest. It's tempting to stay up late to check on your loved one, or to wake up early to get ahead of your day, but getting enough sleep is essential for your health. Lack of sleep can lead to irritability, poor decision-making, and even physical health issues like high blood pressure or a weakened immune system. Try to create a calming nighttime routine, and make sleep a priority. If your loved one is prone to waking up during the night, consider using a baby monitor or a motion sensor alarm to keep tabs on them, so you don't have to constantly be checking in. Another important part of self-care is eating well. When you're busy caring for someone else, it's easy to skip meals or grab something quick and unhealthy. But just like your loved one needs good nutrition to stay healthy, so do you. Try to prepare simple, healthy meals that are easy to grab when you're short on time. Think about meal prepping for the week ahead, so you don't have to worry about cooking every day. Keep healthy snacks like fruit, nuts, or yogurt nearby to help keep your energy up throughout the day. Exercise is another essential part of maintaining your well-being as a caregiver. I know it can be hard to find time to work out when you're balancing so many responsibilities, but exercise doesn't have to be intense or take hours out of your day. Even a short walk around the block, stretching, or doing yoga can work wonders for your physical and mental health. Exercise helps relieve stress, improves mood, and boosts energy levels, all of which are key to being the best caregiver you can be. So, carve out some time each day for movement. Your body will thank you. I also want to encourage you to find emotional outlets. Caring for someone with dementia can bring up a lot of emotions: frustration, sadness, fear, and even guilt. It's completely normal to feel overwhelmed at times. It's important that you don't bottle up those feelings. Find ways to express yourself, whether it's through journaling, talking to a friend, or even seeking professional support. Therapy or counseling can be a huge help in dealing with the emotional challenges that come with caregiving. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help, it's a sign of strength. Your mental health matters, and it's essential that you address any feelings of stress or burnout before they get out of hand. Speaking of asking for help, one of the most important things you can do as a caregiver is to learn to ask for assistance when you need it. You don't have to do this alone. Reach out to other family members, friends, or neighbors who might be able to lend a hand. Even if it's just for a couple of hours, it can make a huge difference. You can also consider hiring a professional caregiver to come in for a few hours a day or week. This can give you a much-needed break, allowing you to recharge and take care of your own needs without feeling guilty. There are also support groups for caregivers that can offer valuable advice and a safe space to talk about your experiences. Just knowing that there are others who understand exactly what you're going through can be a great comfort. Many of these groups meet in person, while others are available online, making it easier to find one that fits your schedule and needs. On a practical note, consider creating a care plan that outlines your loved one's medical needs, daily routines, preferences, and any special accommodations they might need. A written plan can help keep things organized and ensure that everyone involved in the caregiving process is on the same page. If other family members or friends are helping out, this can help them understand exactly how to care for your loved one when you're not around. And don't forget about the importance of taking breaks. I know it can feel like you're constantly on, but taking regular breaks is necessary for your well-being. Even if it's just stepping outside for a few minutes, having a quiet moment to yourself, or enjoying a cup of coffee without interruption, these small breaks can help you recharge and regain your energy. It's okay to step away for a little while. Your loved one is in good hands, and you will come back refreshed and better able to provide care. Remember that caregiving is a journey that requires patience, love, and strength, but it also requires compassion for yourself. You are doing incredibly important work, and it's essential to recognize that you deserve care and attention too. No matter how much you love and care for your family member, taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. Now, as we close this conversation about dementia, I want to remind you that you are not alone. Whether you are just beginning to notice signs of dementia in yourself or a loved one, or you're in the thick of caregiving, there is hope, support, and help available. Taking proactive steps in maintaining brain health, seeking early diagnosis, and creating a strong support system will make all the difference in living well with dementia. And for the caregivers, your dedication, compassion, and resilience are truly admirable. Take pride in what you do, and never forget to take care of yourself along the way. There will be challenges, but there will also be moments of joy, connection, and growth. You're doing an incredible job, and you deserve to celebrate all the ways in which you are making a difference in the life of someone you love. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and remember, it's never too late to take action, stay informed, and embrace the future with positivity and hope. Here's to living well at any age, taking care of yourself, staying connected, and finding joy in each day. Stay strong, and don't forget to be kind to yourself as you continue your caregiving journey.